If you practice aerial and you have a menstrual cycle, this video is for you.
Hi guys! Today we are here to talk about aerial and your menstrual cycle.
Yes, so if you're someone that has a menstrual cycle and you feel like at different times of the month your training may go a little differently and you don't know why, this could be why.
Yes. So we are both super obsessed with learning about our bodies and ensuring that we eat and train and do a lot of things based on our menstrual cycle, especially because one, it's a thing that's trending, and so there's a lot more information available for you these days, but also because we want to make sure that we train in a way that's optimal for our bodies.
Yes, for sure. And since we've been learning about this, we can really kind of connect the dots on how we feel at certain times of the month, especially during training, and kind of realize why, instead of kind of putting it on ourselves, thinking that maybe there's something wrong with us. We know this is just how our bodies work at this time of the month.
Yeah, and it's allowed us to give ourselves some grace, especially when we can't bring ourselves to do things that we would normally be able to do, and we start beating ourselves up for not being able to train at the level we've been training at before. So this is a good video for you to watch.
Yes. Now, we're not saying that when it comes to your cycle, you're just supposed to take it easy at certain times and not do anything at all. It's all about how your body works and optimizing that. We also want to point out that everyone is different. So some of the things that we experience may not be the same for you. And if you find something that works for you as well, then definitely continue with that. Or, then you can just disregard that part of it. But just know that everyone's different. We feel different across different parts of our cycle. And the way I feel is different than how Karina feels, and vice versa. And it will be the same for you as well.
Yeah, and if you find that there is something that we didn't include that works for you, please share it in the comments below, because this video is not just us sharing information with you. We are encouraging you to share what you experience as well, so that other people who may be similar to you will be able to identify with it and also feel like, okay, I'm not the only one dealing with this.
It's really nice that this is being talked about in the fitness space now, because for such a long time, we're just kind of expected to do the same as someone who doesn't have a cycle, And so then when we fall short of that, then we feel like we've missed out on something, we've done something wrong, and so we beat ourselves up. And so it's really nice that we have this information now, and that I feel like as the days go by, we get more information. Sometimes things change. What we say in this video might be different in a year or two, a few months. Science changes so fast, but it's glad that we have the conversation started.
Yeah. Of course, we'll always be updating these videos to let you guys know, because it's not just our cycles, but we're also getting older, right? And what we found as well was that our bodies also change based on the age that we're at. And so we also have to adjust our trainings for those things as well. And we just want you to know that this information that we're providing you is what we have experienced personally, and what we've seen our close female friend group also experience as well.
Also, we are not doctors or medical professionals. So anything that you want to change, definitely talk to your doctor first or your healthcare professional.
So with that background, we'll get started with our menstrual cycle, right?
We have the menstrual phase. That's the first days where you have your period. So I think it's day 1 to day 5 or 6. Yeah, it depends on your cycle. Yeah. For people who have what is considered a normal cycle should be within like 28 to 35 days, more or less. So that's about a typical cycle. If you're someone who is irregular, you may experience it differently. We can definitely leave you names of different resources that you can use to get to know your body a little bit more and find out where you are with that. But we can start off with the menstrual phase.
Yes, the menstrual phase. So Taylor mentioned it's a phase that you are actually bleeding.
It's also a time where we also think a lot. So, you may find that this is a time where you have all these ideas of new things to try out, and definitely recommend for you to take note of that, so that now that your strength is coming back, you're able to kind of incorporate that into your training.
Yes.
Yeah.
And with your strength coming back, right, it also means your confidence is coming back.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, so of course before your period, sometimes you could feel a little weird, maybe a little bloated. We'll talk a little bit more about that in the luteal phase. But you'll feel like your confidence is coming back little by little. So this is a good time for you to get back into your regular training. Also notice that you'll start feeling a little more comfortable in your clothing later on in the menstrual phase as well.
Yes.
So you might feel a bit different than you did the week before.
Yeah. Or even at the beginning of your menstrual phase. At the beginning, you just started bleeding. You might feel a little bit uncomfortable, icky, especially with having to wear products. So as your period progresses, you'll start to notice all of these things coming back. So it's a great time for you to start upping your training a little bit more.
Definitely. I like what you said about feeling icky, because this is one of the reasons I really don't care to practice pole when I'm on my period. It's not my favorite time, because I'm wearing clothes that are, especially the first few days I should say, but I'm wearing clothes that are a bit smaller, and I just feel like in the first few days of my period that I want to just be in like baggy things. I just want to, something that's not so close to me. I'm already dealing with one. I don't want to deal with the other.
Yeah, I can see how that can be the case for sure. It all depends on the products that you wear, right? Because like for some people, I think, especially if you have a heavier flow, you have to wear products that does require that you wear more clothes. So I think especially with pole, because with pole you have to wear such little clothes, because we don't do the coated poles. So because we have to wear such little clothes, it can feel very uncomfortable. I remember one time being in class and this girl being on the pole, and then she came off and she was super embarrassed because like she had messed up the pole. And so like we're all girls there, so we were all like super understanding of it, but I can imagine how you feel as well. And these are some things you don't have any control of, especially if you're going to class. You don't have control when you sign up for this class.
Do you remember when that happened to me when I was in hoop class?
Yes.
I got to hoop class and I don't have a regular period. That is something, well, I should say it's more regular now, but it definitely was completely irregular a few years ago. And I got to class and thought that I, was ready to practice, had no idea, and boom, I couldn't practice, and I wanted to crawl up into a ball and cry. And I ended up going home because I just I didn't have a change of clothing, first of all. I didn't feel comfortable expressing that. And I'm also like a big bunch of hormones then. So, I just wanted to go home. So I could imagine for this girl who this happened within her class, how it could be.
Yeah. So with your menstrual cycle, just be cautious. Don't feel bad if you end up feeling like you don't want to train pole, or you don't want to train something where you're not supposed to be wearing, like, you're not covered up and all that. Keep all of this in mind, and when you're feeling low, especially in your menstrual cycle, remind yourself of these things so that next week you will be back.
Yes.
I think that is the most important thing, because also this is also the time when you think a lot and you reflect a lot. So take advantage of that and reflect on the month before the training that you had. See what you enjoyed training, see what you thought you wanted to work on some more, and use this time to focus on what you want to do and the reflection of the training you had before, so that when your energy level is back at its peak and when you're feeling more confident, then you can do that. Don't just say, oh, I'm on my period, I hate it, I don't like this part of my cycle. Each part of your cycle gives you a superpower, so take advantage of it and lean into it.
Okay, now on that note, we go on to one of my favorite parts, the follicular phase.
She's always waiting to get into this phase.
I can eat the food I like, because I like try to balance that out as well. And also I just get this, we should get, I should say, this rise in our energy, because you're coming back in, all of the balance is being restored in your body. So I love the follicular phase. I love trying moves that are more strength intensive during this time, because I feel like I have the most energy and I kind of feel unstoppable. I think even more than my ovulatory phase.
Really?
Yeah. I feel like I'm ready to train, and I'm also ready to cross train at that time, because I feel like that is when I can work a lot on like building strength for aerial. So
And you know, this could also be not just because you're feeling stronger, but because you've also had the 2 down weeks before and you're kind of missing training, you know. So when you come back in, you go with all that you have because you get all of the hormones, the happy hormones of training, but also pushing yourself to do more than you had done before. So you can lean into that strength that you have and just take advantage of it. This is also the time we recommend that you focus a lot on your warm-ups and try to do as much conditioning as you can so that you can take advantage of the energy and the strength that you have at this time.
Yep, definitely. And you're also feeling super creative at this time. So make sure that you're thinking about what new tricks or moves that you can put together for your flows. You know, build on skills that you've learned before and use this time to level up your aerial game for sure.
Yes, this is definitely the time you will want to level up. And the best part about this is that with the strength comes the confidence. So things that you would be a little bit scared of to try when you're not feeling your best, this is the time you should put yourself out there and try them. Of course, do it in a safe way and in a safe environment. Make sure you have a crash map and a spotting buddy, especially if you're trying a new trick. But this is the time that you should try to learn the things that you've always said you want to learn. How to do this trick. I want to know how to do this. This requires more strength. I can focus on building strength and start trying to see how to do different entries into these poses that I really want to learn.
Yes. Of course, when you feel confident, your clothes as well will feel like they fit better than before. You'll feel like you feel more comfortable in your skin as you're training. So it's like the perfect storm, you know?
Yeah. It's really a great time to be a woman in this phase. I mean, all of them are a great time, but this one, you just feel like Superwoman.
Yes, for
Wonder
sure.
Woman. Yeah. So this is really a time you should really take advantage of.
So moving on to our
ovulatory phase. For me, this is my favorite phase because one, my skin looks amazing. I always look at my skin. So for me, I always feel super confident in this phase.
Yes, actually, this is the phase I told you that I feel the most confident trying floor work because this is something that for me feels a little bit harder to do. It's not so much like strength intensive, but it does take a bit of confidence. So I feel like, oh, this is a time that I can try floor work because I feel more in my, like, I guess, feminine energy.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah. And I mean, this also is the time when you will still have a lot of that creativity. So if you're doing floor work, you can play around with a lot of things. Your strength in your ovulatory phase is similar to that in your follicular phase. And so we do encourage you to try things that would be a bit more challenging for you at other times. So for instance, I remember one time being scared to do a drop, and then I tried it sometime later and it was so easy. And I couldn't put my finger on like, why is it that it was so hard before and it was so easy now? And it was just, I was too scared before to let go. And then I let go during the second time I tried it, and then I realized I'm in my ovulatory phase. Nothing scares me in this phase.
Yeah.
I can have difficult conversations with Breeze. I can let go of my apparatus and do the drops, and I'm not afraid. I'm more confident in what I'm able to do. And because I did that when I was in my ovulatory phase, when we filmed the routine and I was no longer in my ovulatory phase, I had trusted it enough to be able to know that if I let go, everything would be fine. So this is where you connect that new things, try new things in that follicular ovulatory phase, when you trust yourself, you trust the apparatus, you trust your skills, you trust your strength, and then do it enough times for you to know that this move is safe, this drop is safe. And then when you have to do it in the other phases of your cycle, you will already have enough reinforcement in your brain to tell yourself to calm down when your body is kind of scared of everything.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
In your ovulatory phase, you definitely, like you said, we feel more confident to do new drops. I said I'm more confident to do more floor work. I also feel more confident in my clothes. So I can see a clear division between my ovulatory phase and my luteal phase, where I just want to wear things that are just covering my body versus my ovulatory phase where I feel like, it's fine, just take it off. Not in that way.
Not take it off like that. Just like take it off. I'm confident in who I am.
Yeah, definitely. I also feel like, you know, I'm a little less sensitive. You know, like, for example, I complain about the fabric a lot, right? And the feeling, and, you know, I hate those
burns.
Those burns.
That we use to train our skin.
Yeah.
Our skin. Not skins. We only have one skin.
We are ESL teachers, guys.
Yeah, so sometimes the thing is that this is going totally off topic, but we speak Creole. Well, I speak Creole as my first language, and you speak Creole as a very important language in your life. I always give her shit for this. But anyways, we are both Creole speakers, and we are English-based Creole. So sometimes the Creole will kind of switch the grammar for English around and makes it really wrong. And sometimes when we're speaking English, we kind of confuse the grammar. If you speak multiple languages, you will understand this. So we confuse the grammar, the vocabulary, and sometimes the pronunciation. Sometimes we say something and you can clearly hear that we are not speaking with our English voices.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so if we say something that's a little bit weird, just know that it's also because of our background as well, with that Creole in some of our backgrounds.
So if you've seen that in our past videos, now you know why.
Yeah.
Yeah, so but going back to you know, having like feeling a little less sensitive, I feel like I can handle those burns and stuff a lot easier when I am in my like ovulatory phase. That this is not saying that you should go try to like let me hang by my knees when you design the routines, okay? That's not what I'm saying.
I was gonna say, because I have this plan to make a hoop routine that Taylor will hate, and we will call it a hoop routine that with all the poses that Taylor hates. And so now that she's saying that when she is comfortable doing these more challenging things in her ovulatory phase, then that's when when we're filming for hoop in her ovulatory phase, or when you're gonna be in your ovulatory phase, that's when I should make the hoop routine that you hate.
That's true. It'll be easier for me. I'm just surprised that you're not trying to make me absolutely hate you.
I mean, that is a fair point. I should go back.
No. You know I cry easily.
Yeah, so like we're doing these things that can affect your skin a lot. For Taylor, it's the fabric. For me, it's the bar apparatuses, right? Mm-hmm. Because we are very different.
Yeah.
I prefer the burns of fabric, and Taylor prefers whatever it is, the punches of the bar apparatus. Because I feel like everything you do on these things hurt, right?
It's not that bad, but you know.
But yeah, so maybe I will pay more attention to it as well to see if it hurts more.
Yeah.
When I am in my luteal phase versus when, because sometimes I don't complain. I only complain for fun, but usually like you know you can tell when I'm complaining for fun and versus when I'm really in pain.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Yeah, I'll look out for that.
Yeah.
I usually just class them all together. Because sometimes you try to cover up your complaining for real with humor. As we both do.
Yeah, as we both do, yes. Yeah, but like it depends, you know, so maybe that's another thing you can keep in mind, that if you prefer bar apparatuses, try doing fabric apparatuses when you're in your follicular and ovulatory phase, and vice versa. If you prefer the fabric apparatuses, then do the bar apparatuses when you are in these phases, so that your skin can be more resilient to the pains or the burns and the bruises that you get from doing aerial. Mm-hmm. Because realistically speaking, we all get them.
Okay, now we're moving on to everyone's favorite time.
The luteal phase. This phase is when you feel like your energy levels go, right? They just go down a lot. And I guess for me, especially, this phase is like the phase I pay the most attention to in terms of making sure that I'm very understanding of my strength and my emotions and my body and how I'm feeling. So during this phase, I think both of us experience this. Yeah. We feel more tired, we don't have as much energy or desire to train. Yeah. So whenever we start with our warm-ups in this phase, instead of starting with, you know, higher impact warm-ups, jumping and warming up in that way, we start with a lot more movement that moves our body without having all this impact. Yeah, so we pay very close attention to that, and we also focus a lot on stretching during this time, because I find that it's easier to get into flexibility at this time, because it doesn't require all that fast movement and all of these things. So if you don't have time to, you know, work on flexibility training, try to put it during this time of your cycle so that you can just take advantage of the fact that you don't have to be doing a lot of those high impact things to warm up and to condition your body.
Yeah, and definitely give yourself a little more grace if you feel like taking it easy, opt for slower flows, less spin, less strength intensive movements, all of that.
This phase is really a phase that took us some time to learn how to navigate our aerial training, because before we would just have like a standard warm-up for everything, and then we started noticing, but if we do the standard warm-up, by the time we get to actually learning the routine, we already don't have energy to finish it.
Yeah, it's true.
So you have to think about sharing your energy levels based on what you want to accomplish for that day.
And when you're training with someone as well, because, you know, we don't always have synced up cycles, you know. Sometimes we're on the same wavelength, sometimes we're not. So being mindful of the person that you're training with, if they have a cycle, and where they are can explain a lot for what they're able to do and what they're not. So for example, like if I'm in my luteal phase and Karina is not, and she's more in her ovulatory phase or follicular phase, then maybe she'll be able to do a little bit more, but she'll also notice that, hey, this is your luteal phase. It's okay if we can't get everything done or you can't get everything done that you expect to do. So, and vice versa. When I'm on the other side, I also try to make sure that, you know, that we're not being hard on ourselves. If Karina feels like she's a little like under the weather or feels like she's not getting things, then I know that this is a time that I can provide support, and this is where having an aerial bestie comes in really handy, right?
Yes, this is why we have an aerial bestie.
Yeah, so that we can, like, you know, cheer each other on, especially during that time.
Yes, and like we said, during this time, we don't have a lot of energy, and so we also find that our confidence also decreases. So remember I told you guys about not being able to do that drop? It was because I was in my luteal phase. It was the second time I was trying it. It was something that was still quite new, and I just didn't trust the fabric or myself. So I did my silks showcase when I had been training silks for about 4 to 6 months. So I was quite new to silks, and having to think about doing something that would wow the audience, I wanted to do a drop. But this drop, I'd only done it once before, and even in class, I think I did it twice, and it was like one of the times was really good and the other wasn't. So I didn't have the confidence in this skill that I wanted to showcase, and so this is why I didn't trust it enough, you know? And so it's something that you should keep in mind. So even if you're planning like a showcase and you find that you are stuck putting your stuff together during the luteal phase, stick to things that you are comfortable with, so that you can, you know, do it well, especially if you're planning it right now and you don't have a lot of time to practice the piece that you're putting together.
Yeah, and then like if you're planning this months in advance, then maybe you can do all of the moves that you're comfortable with first, wait until later on, a couple weeks when you're, you know, back with all the energy and all the confidence, and then revisit that and then practice it a lot then, and then put everything together.
Yeah. And make sure it is tucked in there for when you enter that luteal phase, you already are confident in it, and all the hormones in your body will not convince you otherwise.
Yeah. So as you know, in your luteal phase, your confidence goes down. This also applies to the way your clothes fit you. I feel like everyone on YouTube will know when I'm in my luteal phase now, because I'm just telling everything, you know? So for me, when I'm in my luteal phase, like I mentioned, I just don't like the way my clothes fit me. I prefer to be as covered up as I can. I remember maybe like a month or so ago, we were putting together a silks routine, and I kept like putting on more clothes, and Karina looked at me like, what's going on? I'm like, I just feel gross. I feel like I need to cover up. She's like, but you're in your luteal phase, that's why. Yeah. And so it really made me remember that, first of all, this is why I'm not like, you know, gaining weight. I'm not, you know, nothing's wrong with me, but it's just because this is where I'm in my luteal phase. This is how my hormones make me feel.
Yeah. Yeah, and so as well with this, you know, give yourself grace. Cover up if you need to. That's fine. You'll see that in some of our videos we're covered up. Some of them we're a little bit more out there with the clothes. And so just be mindful of where you are in your cycle. Pay attention to it. And if you need like more information, there's tons of them online to help you track your cycle. They have apps now that you can, you know, look at to help you track your cycle so that you understand what's going on in your body and why you are feeling down, why you don't have energy, or while all of a sudden you have all the energy and you want to do things that you never thought you would be doing before, right? So be mindful of your cycle. Appreciate it for every single part of it, because each part allows you to tap into a part of you that is very unique and can make you do things that will be different from other people. So appreciate it. I remember before we were always more like, oh, why do I need to be a girl? Why do I need to have a cycle? And now I feel like we are more, I am appreciative of the hormones that I get this week because I'm able to do this and this and this.
Yeah, I'm just straight up happy when it completes itself, you know? Guys, if you're looking for like, you know, resources to kind of be more in tune with your cycle, we'll definitely recommend this book that we read. Karina found it and she passed it to me. I've learned so much about my cycle from that. And if you're like, you know, someone who has an irregular cycle, I definitely recommend that you read this book. It's called How to Fix Your Period by Nicole Jardim. Yes. I hope I pronounced her name right. Yes, but we can leave the name of it in the description below, and if we find a link for it or something.
Yeah, so yeah, it's a great way, especially because, you know, for instance, I have a very regular cycle and Taylor didn't used to have a regular cycle, and so because she had an irregular cycle, she would get the symptoms that we have just spoken about more intense. So when she would have more energy, she would have more energy. And when she would have less energy, I couldn't understand why it was so bad, you know? So it's good to, like Taylor said, to learn about your cycle and to try to see how you can fix it, because an irregular cycle is like, you will learn if you know, seek out the information that is not something that is ideal. We all want to have regular cycles, and some of us it takes a little bit more work, and we have to train our bodies and unlearn a lot of the things that we have been conditioned to believe, but it is something that is worth taking time doing, and maybe you become a little bit obsessive like us, you know?
Yeah. Maybe don't go too much to this side, but try to find a happy medium.
Yeah.
I think we're
learning how to get to the middle.
Yeah.
Middle.
At one point we were like crazy obsessed with this, and then now we're realizing, okay, we can't be so literal with everything, and we also need to remember the primary thing is that everyone's body is different, and sometimes our bodies react differently at different times. It's not really a formula that you can follow all the time.
Yeah. But it's good to know. It's good information to have, and it's good for referencing. And like we said many times before, to give yourself grace.
If you found this helpful, definitely leave us a like. It really helps us out. Please comment if you like these kinds of videos, because sometimes, you know, we talk a lot about the technique and stuff like that and aerial itself, but we're also people, and it's really great to know that our lives impact the way we train and how we can optimize things that happen in our lives, things that happen in our bodies to have a better training. So if you like that, let us know, and let us know if you have any other ideas for videos like these. And of course, if you're not a part of our community,
subscribe so that we can, you know, train together, learn together, continue sharing about how our training is going, and continue learning from each other. And remember to share this video with your aerial bestie. We have just told you why it's so important to have an aerial bestie. So share it with them and invite them to join this community if they are not a part of it as well. And remember to feel free to share your comments. What has your experience with aerial and training been like? Is it the same? Do you have a regular cycle? Let us know so that we can also know what type of content we can make for you. And if you want to know about our #1 secret to becoming a better aerialist, we're leaving a video right on screen for you, so please be sure to check that out. This is where we share with you the one tip that we found with the community that we had started aerial with that we weren't really getting, and this is what made a difference for our aerial training.
Yes. We'll leave that on the screen. Check that out, and until next time,
bye!